Now, unless you've had your head buried in the sand for the last few days, you would have seen that StarWars Battlefront have released a beta. Now, while I've not actually spent much time at the moment playing the game, I thought I'd bring you a video today just to give you some first initial thoughts that I have about the game and some feedback on the map and game modes. Now, first of all, I've got to say, before this beta was released, I really wasn't involved in all of the hype surrounding the Battlefront beta. It didn't look like a game that I was going to enjoy, and I really didn't think I was going to like it at all. But after playing a little bit of the beta, my views have totally changed. I really enjoy playing this game. It is very easy to pick up, and it feels really easy to play compared to, say, Battlefield 4 or Battlefield Hardline. So like I say, because I wasn't really involved in all of the hype surrounding Battlefront, I actually went into the beta with a totally open mind, ready to absorb everything the game had to offer me. Now, I've been playing on the Xbox One mostly, and as you've all seen when you first load up, it suggests that you try playing Drop Zone to try and find your feet a little bit in the game and get used to some of the mechanics. So I went on to Drop Zone, and of course on the map Sullust. So let me explain to you a little bit about Drop Zone and what it is. So basically, pods are dropped onto the map, which you then have to go and claim as a team. Once you've claimed that pod, you need to hold it for as long as you can and attack off the enemy team from getting to that pod and claiming it for themselves. Once you've defended it for a certain amount of time, or the other team then come and claim the pod for themselves, that will disappear and another pod will drop onto the map in a different location. I found this game mode really good fun to jump in with to start with. I've had so much fun playing this game mode, it really is good. Now, as for the map Sullust, to me, it seems like there are a lot of good routes to be taken on this map. So there's a lot of walkways and everything that you can take, which seem to lead in and around the drop zones pretty well. There's also a lot of high ground on this map. So high ground, of course, in any battle is key. If you can get a look on top of the enemy, you're going to have the upper hand in any battle. And this certainly is the case in this map, especially when you're trying to attack or defend those pods. There is a good amount of high ground to be had. The textures, of course, look absolutely amazing. Now, the gameplay that you are watching now, unfortunately, isn't at 60 frames a second because I do need to buy a new capture device for my PlayStation 4 to enable me to capture it at 60 frames a second. So, for the meantime, I'm afraid you are going to have to suffer with the 30 frames a second, but hopefully once the game is finally released, I will have a new capture device by then, and we can bathe in the gloriness of 60 frames a second. The gameplay seems to flow pretty well, so I've never really had any problems where I'm kind of thinking, you know, what the hell is going on? Where the hell am I supposed to be heading? Once the pods drop, your whole team seems to sort of be rushing for that direction, and of course you're fending off the enemies, or vice versa. If you are trying to attack that pod, it's clearly marked on the map so you know exactly where you need to be heading. I have found that the spawns can be a little bit hit and miss on this game mode and map. I don't know if it's just me, but I seem to find, like, say we've defended a pod or we've just attacked a pod and it's moved on to the next location, all of a sudden it seems like the enemy are spawning right behind me and I'm already at the edge of that map. So that's something I'm definitely going to give in the feedback to the developers. One of the other things I have noticed about playing is the ambient noise of gunfire seems to me to be a bit off-putting. Now, I'm assuming this is ambient gunfire. It seems to be like up in the skies. There's a lot of shooting going on that's not actually involved with the gameplay. I'm pretty sure it's not just me, but it does seem to be really off-putting. If I'm walking down somewhere and there's no teammates around and I hear a load of gunfire, I can hear it's behind me, so I sort of turn around, head back to where I came from, just to find that it was just a bit of ambient gunfire. Again, this is something that I'm going to put to the devs because the whole point of the beta, and it's probably worth you doing exactly the same as well. If there are any things that you find may need changing, this is the time to note it down and send it off to the devs. The whole point of the beta is to try and make the game better for everybody once final release comes along. So if you've got any quirks or niggly bits that you've found while you've been playing Battlefront, then do send it off to the devs. Probably the best place would be something like on Twitter to mark it. And yeah, make sure you get those comments and views in because it all helps to developing a better game for everybody on final release. So that's just my quick 2 cents and this is literally very first impressions of the StarWars Battlefront game, Drop Zone on Sullust. So there will be no doubt a more in-depth review once I've got a few more hours of gameplay under my belt. But if you did enjoy this video, please do leave it a cheeky little thumbs up. And until next time, goodbye.